Stand by to launch.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
With a run in the 8th, and now a run in the 9th, and here's a shot high and deep to right off the bat of Lowe, and that baby's out of here. Josh Lowe goes deep. Back-to-back home runs, and the Rays grab the lead.
What a comeback last night by the Tampa Bay Rays as they come back from 6-5 down, came back from a couple runs down many times to take the lead and go on to win 10-7 over the Washington Nationals last night, which was an unbelievable finish. And we say hello from Breckenridge, Colorado. I don't know if you can see that beautiful shot behind me, Nick Geddes. Can you see the snow out there out my window there?
I can see it.
The fire's going in here. We got the fire going in the fireplace there.
I can feel the chill coming over the screen here.
I tell you what, it was freaking cold yesterday. I mean, cold. We're talking down to 10, 11 degrees. The snow was blowing sideways. My glasses broke. I didn't have my goggles. It was a disaster for about 25 minutes, but we figured it out.
Hey, that's great, by the way, that it was cold for you because it was not the same over here.
No.
In fact, I went out yesterday after the show because the Rays have been putting me in such a great mood with baseball. I went out to the fields yesterday after the show to throw a little bit, and I haven't thrown a baseball in probably years. Okay. Yeah. But I felt very inclined to get out there, which, by the way, I still got it. I'm just going to put that out there. Number two, though, my goodness, the heat yesterday. I mean, we probably threw for like 20 minutes, and I mean, I'm dripping sweat. We took a water break. I go on Twitter, and I see a tweet from Paul Delgado that yesterday was like the hottest spring day on record in Tampa.
Christmas.
That's how hot it was yesterday in Tampa.
Well, it wasn't hot here, man. It was freaking freezing. We're riding up the lift, and that was about as heavy as snow as I think I've ever been in. You could not see like 10 feet in front of your face, but it was only for about 5-10 minutes. But it just happened to be we were going up the lift. And it's very light. I mean, like there, my man, a great cost right now. Sausage and eggs and all kind. I don't know what the hell's going in that thing. We got that. We got the fireplace going. The coffee's going. We're heading out skiing later, and my other buddy Greg Nelson over here. We were in this kitchen 36 years ago, almost to the week, and we haven't been back. The same condo, so our family condo. So we've got some pictures from that way back when, and we're going to try to recreate some of those pictures. We'll put them up on social
I saw that, by the way. I saw that. A young JP.
You saw the one, right?
With a little more hair, a little more color in that hair as well. But you were breaking a rule of yours. You were drinking a Budweiser in that photo.
I was.
And I can't
back
imagine
in the day.
I can't imagine the JP Peterson of 2023 sipping a Budweiser. I can't see it.
We didn't even have IPAs back then. This is 36 years ago. We didn't have IPAs.
All we had was that.
No. I didn't know how good beer could be back then. None of us did. All we had was that mass-produced crap, and so we don't have to drink that anymore. And by the way, Colorado is a tremendous beer state. I mean, most every bar you go into, they have like 30 taps, all different types of IPAs and craft beers. Big craft beer.
I saw your photo though, and it's funny. I saw they had the drafts there, the taps.
Yeah.
The photo you posted with the pizza, and I was looking at it, and I love how the only beer that drew my eyes to it was they have Pabst on tap.
Oh,
I've never seen Pabst on tap before.
Pabst Blue Ribbon? Oh, that's big here. Very big. Yeah, Pabst Blue. You can get a PBR just about anywhere. Very big here in Breckenridge. Just for fun, you got to have one PBR while you're there. So, yeah, it's a great. And I was surprised. Skiing was pretty good yesterday. I haven't skied in a couple of years, so it was pretty good. Only fell once. No major injuries, so it was not a bad day. But anyway, we'll get to the baseball. Last night, a great come from behind win from the Rays. And what can you say about this team now? They're 5-0, the only undefeated team in baseball, and they're doing it just about every different way with great pitching, which they did not have last night. You give up 16 hits last night, and you still come back and win. Because not only you give up 16 hits, and I know it sounds weird, but there were certain points of the game where they mitigated, what could have gotten a lot worse. Kept themselves in the game and then come back with some clutch hits. I'm sitting there because didn't have Bally Sports on the big screen. So I'm sitting there watching on my phone at Fatty's Pizza. By the way, if you come to Breck, you got to go to Fatty's Pizza. Fatty's Pizza is the best pizza, bar none. And I'm watching it on the phone there, and I'm like, oh, well, they're not going to win tonight. And I'm watching this. I'm like, holy crap. Then Luke Raley goes yard, and then Josh Lowe goes yard, then Yandy Diaz goes yard. I'm like, these guys can't lose. They can't lose. And then the bullpen does what they're supposed to do. This is fun. 162-0, baby.
162-0. We're on the run to that now, and that's why I had to do it today. I had to do it today. If the camera could see it, I had to break out the Devil Rays jersey. I got the old school hat. Oh, I love my Devil Rays stuff. This shout out to my father-in-law for getting me this. This is the Shane McClanahan, by the way, and of course it's bump day today. It's bump day. A little 1 o'clock baseball. 11 o'clock your time. Shane's on the mound for the best team in baseball, the only undefeated team. We probably were a little too hard on them based on what we've seen so far. I'm excited. I'm so over the moon right now.
How can you not be? You know what we really need to do is pick an away series to go to this year.
I'm down. I'm completely down. And we already went over it. There's so many cool ballparks to go visit this year.
Which ones are at the top of your list? I want to take you to a real ballpark.
I want to go to Fenway. I think that's always been top of my list. But
Fenway's fantastic.
They got San Francisco this year would be to die for. Yes. I think those are the two probably.
Yeah. Atlanta ain't bad either.
Atlanta's not bad either.
Oh, look at this. We got the breakfast burrito working right here. Can you see this?
Yeah, you're living large right now.
I have my cooks making me breakfast here. Look at that thing. That thing's like 3 pounds of sausage, egg, cheese, and Lord knows what else. So thank you, Chef Kevin. Well done. So yeah, we're living the life out here. It's fantastic. All right, so let's get back into the Rays a little bit. They didn't even need Josh Fleming to pitch last night. I'm not. They could have gone back to Shane, but it's great. Baby all the arms and make sure everybody's healthy. I'm not sure. As Goose Gottschalk said so eloquently last week, I'm not sure that keeping these guys from pitching a lot is the best way to build up their arm strength. But I think we're way past that now. It's even though it worked like a charm way back in the day, and you hear John Smoltz talk about Leo Mazzoni, those guys were Smoltz and Glavine and all those guys were throwing off the mound on their 2 days after their start. They were throwing 50, 60 pitches. This is ridiculous regiment of constantly building up arm strength. And the way baseball has gone with the massive investments in these pitchers now, I guess they feel like they have to baby them, but I still don't see the evidence that that's a better way to keep them healthy. So I know times have changed, but I still feel like that's the best way to go. But that's not the way the Rays are going to go, and we just hope that they can stay healthy. That's all. I mean, that's all we can hope. But if they do stay healthy, I don't as good as the Yankees are. They're not better than this team. If this team continues to score, what are they averaging? 6.5 runs a game right now.
They're 5 games in and they got 37 runs. So that's almost 6 runs a game. Just over 6 runs a game.
7 runs a game. So there's, that'll do. That'll do with this pitching staff because the team ERA is not going to be over 4. No way. It'll be closer to low 3s.
Yeah, right now they're number 2 in baseball behind the Dodgers by a run and scored runs, which I just said is 37. Your Tampa Bay Rays, who were devoid of any power and pop last year, are number 1 in slugging. They're number 1 in slugging, getting it all across the lineup. Oh, and by the way, they're also number 2 in ERA.
Yeah.
And that was inflated yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it is, and they didn't have to pitch Josh Fleming. They could, if they come back with Shane, it's probably a 3 or 4 run game at the most.
Yeah. That game, the way the Rays started that game, it should have never gotten out of hand. But I will say this, and we'll talk about Josh Fleming because I was getting ready for a rant today, honestly. That's what this show was going towards because I've seen enough of Josh Fleming over the years. I know that he was better than Patino and Chirinos in the minor era in spring training this year, but this ain't spring training. I know what I've seen from Josh Fleming in the majors, but I will say if this is the most we have to complain about is a 6th starter, essentially, because he won't even be on this roster when Glasnow gets back. You could do a lot worse than that. That's the only thing I complain about through 5 games so far is the 6th starter, essentially.
And who would they possibly bring up? Would it be Taj Bradley?
Well, I think Taj had his first AAA outing this past week, and from what I heard, I haven't seen it, but from what I heard, he kind of had trouble getting through that. So
Okay.
you got to remember, he's still a baby when it comes to AAA.
Yeah,
So
he is.
I'm sure he's going to be there for a little bit.
But he'll have eventually he's going to be here. I don't know if it's this season, later this season, certainly in September, but we'll see. We're going to talk some Lightning as well. Don't worry about that. We're going to get to some USF spring game. The Masters is starting tomorrow. Tiger Woods is out there. We'll get to that in just a second. And the Lightning, of course, at the Rangers tonight as they continue to zero in on what might be home ice, but I don't think the Lightning really care. But we'll talk some Bolts here in just a little bit. Let's hit the whole comeback last night. So we played the Josh Lowe one. This was the Luke Raley one, which was incredible in its own right, as he goes down the line and left on a laser shot opposite field. You know, this guy's just got country man strength. Let's listen to that.
And the first pitch, a shot back into deep left. That baby's going to get out of here. Home run on the first pitch. Luke Raley. And opposite field home run. His third home run in this series.
That set the table. And then, of course, Josh Lowe put him ahead, and then Yandy put the distance out with a 3-run laser beam of his own in the ninth inning to give him a little bit of breathing room. So, I mean, and then Jose Siri. How about Jose Siri? You know, so now you're going to tell me we got a great defensive center fielder who can hit bombs? What has he got? Two now? Opening day, we saw one. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's driving in runs, and he's in the 9-hole. He's in the 9-hole. What does that tell you about what they got in front of him right now?
Some good players. And I think they like him there, and I hope they keep him there because it takes the pressure off him to be a key offensive cog. It gives you that speed at the bottom of the lineup when they turn it over. When Yandy is not your typical leadoff hitter with super speed, obviously just more of a contact get on base guy. But if Siri gets on and Yandy's such a great contact guy, he can move him along, and Siri's gonna steal bags. And there's no question. We knew this going in that the new rules somehow, some way, the Rays were going to be smart enough to figure it out and make it benefit them, right? And already we're seeing that with stolen bases. Their offense obviously is a lot better without the shift and the pitch clock and everything else. It's definitely come to them. They're a more athletic team. So I think all the rules that have been changed favor teams that are more athletic, that can run and play good defense, right? Can cover more ground because you don't have the shift. I think all of these play right into the Rays' favor. I think, the Rays have always, taught their pitchers to let's get it going anyway. They're very much a rhythm, keep it going team. So I don't see any of the Rays pitchers struggling with having to speed up their operation at all. It doesn't seem, the hitters seem to be just fine with their part of it. So, the new rules certainly aren't affecting them at all.
No, and they're just doing everything right now. We already mentioned it. They're hitting for power. They're getting timely hits. And every game that they've won, they've kind of done it in a different way.
Yeah.
First game, you get your ace that just goes out there, and the Tigers had no shot. You get enough timely hitting. You take the shutout, you move on. The second game is an offensive onslaught, right, where the Tigers had no chance in that one. Even the games against the Nationals so far, it's just kind of been like easy sledding. And in this one, they get behind. The offense looks like it's going nowhere. Like they went a few innings there where the offense just kind of went away. Yes. It was 5-4 for a while. And then we get to the ninth inning, and Luke Raley on the first pitch hits one out. Yeah. I mean, and it started in the eighth inning actually with Randy Arozarena, who, by the way, Randy Arozarena is locked in early on. Yeah. I mean, he almost hit a 3-run home run in the first inning, hits that one off the wall. He muscles one into the gap in the eighth inning to get them within one. I mean, they're getting it from everywhere in the lineup. Wander Franco yesterday was 0 for 5.
Yeah.
He was 0 for 5 yesterday, and they scored 10.
Yeah, didn't need him. And that's the good part. Let's listen into Cash after the game, what he had to say about his band of misfit toys that are 5-0.
They're pitching after the second inning. We couldn't get anything going. Bats kind of went quiet for a little bit, but stayed at it and, really turned it on in the ninth. Rayleigh's putting together a pretty good series. Josh followed suit, Wincy with a great at-bat, or Isak with a great at-bat. And then Yandy kind of put the icing on everything with the big home run.
And I know it was a tough start for Fleming, but the bullpen hung around, stranded runners. Just how impressive were they?
Yeah, they did a nice job. And look, that's going to happen sometimes. I thought Flem did right by continuing to throw strikes. Credit the Nationals lineup. They did a good job, got their hits off of them. Then the guys that came in, Jalen came in and did a nice job. Kevin Kelly kept it there. If we could keep it within striking distance, we got a chance. Certainly the way the offense has been swinging the bat lately. And our defense was pretty spectacular tonight.
So I was going to ask you, what is your level of confidence with the offense, even if you do fall behind?
They've given us no reason not to have a lot of confidence in them. So, look, very pleased and know that that's not going to happen every night. And we've swung the bats really, really well. We'll take as much as we can get. But I think we're most encouraged about the young guys that are really doing some special things at the plate early on.
Well, I mean, what else can Cash say? He's just everything is going right for this team right now, and it's not going to be that way all year long. They're going to go into some bad spells. That's just baseball. But the thing about it is pitching and defense show up just about every single day. And that's why, it's always been the Rays hallmark. That's what they built it on. And this pitching staff looks as good as any, as well-rounded as any. The bullpen looks very balanced. They've got it all. They've got it all from a pitching standpoint. With the baseballs being juiced this year a little bit more, I think I heard Doug Wechter talking about that a little bit. The Rays have hit 11 home runs in the first 6 games, which is more than they've ever hit before. 37 runs is the most they've ever scored in the first 6 games, or 5 games. This is so much of exactly what you would hope for in terms of Eric Neander's strategy, which was, we're not going to – they didn't force a deal in the offseason. And while many of us were hoping that they would spend money, we came around to we talked about this yesterday, that's okay. If you really believe that these young guys are just better than that, with the pitching and the soft early schedule that you have, it gave you an opportunity to not force a deal and just say, okay, we'll let it come to us and we'll see what we need at the deadline because we're certainly going to be in it. No question about it with this pitching staff. So it's the smart play. And now they'll be able to probably get players that they couldn't get before because the teams that are out of it at that point, the sellers weren't sellers in the offseason of certain players. Everybody else becomes more available. You get better deals. You get better. It's easier to target what exactly you need for that year. So I'm all for the deadline deals, but again, let's go out and spend some big money and get the guys, the proven hitters.
And when it comes to Josh Lowe in particular, and we've been talking about this, the Rays have put their eggs in the Josh Lowe, Luke Raley basket. One of those guys or two of those guys, and that's what's happened so far through 5 games, need to prove their potential. And when it comes to Josh Lowe specifically, I'm not going to ignore the pedigree. Yeah. He was an outstanding high school player. He was a first-round pick for this team not too long ago. He was killing it throughout the minors. Of course this guy was going to get a shot in the big leagues. I think we would agree that last year we just thought that it was a little too soon, right? And I think Eric Ander would probably admit, it was a little too soon. He was a little overwhelmed. But he looks like he's transformed himself. He transformed his swing. He transformed his body. He looks like a lot more of a presence, I guess, at the plate is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
He seems like he has full command right now, no matter who's pitching, lefty, righty. And that's what I said yesterday. He's been tearing it up, the cover off the baseball. And yesterday, he did not miss when Finnegan just hung one up there. Yeah, and I thought it was cool, too. Him and Raley were speaking to Trisha Whitaker on the field after the game. And Luke Raley goes, I was actually talking to Josh today on the field. And he goes, we're going to go back-to-back tonight. I can feel it. So he called his shot last night, by the way, that Raley and Lowe were going back-to-back. And so that was really cool. And the other thing, too, I was thinking about this team and all the conversations we had in the offseason about not addressing the offense. And that's not just us saying it. Neander said it.
Yeah,
he said he said it. The quote was, we'd be foolish to think that we can just go with the same offense and try to do that after 1 run in 24 innings. That's true. But at the same time, we talked about the banner raising. We made fun of it and everything. This team I bet saw that and went, ugh. They probably just completely ignored that when that happened on opening day. And I now bet you every time they walk out onto the trot for 81 games, it's right there when you walk onto the field. I bet it's a reminder of this team of, that was a failure. That sucked. And we know it. We know we're better than it. Making the playoffs is not enough anymore. There's better in us. It just seems like a team that was really pissed off about what happened last year, and they've come out really motivated this year. And before anybody gets going about the level of competition, the Detroit Tigers have won 2 in a row against the Houston Astros.
That's right.
Pretty good baseball team. The Nationals stole a game against the Atlanta Braves. pretty good baseball team. And the Rays have had those two teams numbered through 5 games. So there's a different feeling to this team right now. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And clearly one of the things we worried about was team chemistry because of what happened last year with Arozarena and Yandy Diaz. I was convinced that one of those guys would be gone. And they held on to both of them. And, I was listening to Sternberg do an interview the other day, which was actually not a bad interview, where he talked about, we've got some consistency here. There's only 2 new players on this team.
Yep.
I mean, there's a core here now that, for the last 2 or 3 years, we actually know some of these guys and they've stuck around, which makes, the affinity for this team a lot better. And I think, the chemistry thing was a problem last year. Clearly at the end of the year, when that altercation happened between Yandy and Randy, they went in the tank big time. So whatever they've done, they've fixed that.
And also too, the guys that are a part of this core, they all kind of have similar stories of being undervalued, not cared about. And Richie actually just put this here in the comments. Randy was a cast off from the Cardinals. If you know Yandy Diaz's story of how he made it out of Cuba, it's a crazy story and a really heartwarming one. Jose Siri couldn't cut it in the Astros lineup.
Right.
All right. Brandon Lau was not some heralded draft pick, right? He was a mid-round pick that kind of had to make his way into the lineup. Manny Margot was an outcast from the Padres, a failed prospect, if you will. Drew Rasmussen was a failed prospect in Milwaukee. Jeffrey Springs, like you could keep going on and on and on and on and on. All these guys have one thing in common, and that's they were undervalued by Major League Baseball, right? It sounds like I'm making the Moneyball pitch right now, but it's true. They all kind of have the same mentality. You have a lot of players that come from the same background, and they're gelling right now like it's just as good as any team in Major League Baseball.
Well, and this is part of the culture of baseball, and you see this a lot in certain organizations. Guys get kind of pigeonholed into being X player. Siri, great athlete, not a great ball player. Brandon Lau, streaky guy, which we've still seen, but has a ton of potential. All these guys, but you know what it does? They all have chips on their shoulder. And this has been a great part of the Rays formula for so long that Joe Madden really, really cultivated. And that's that, every time you come to the yard, you've got to prove yourself, and you're going to get the opportunity to prove yourself in many different ways. Like, most teams, they all know their roles, and it's a very consistent thing through 162. Whereas Madden came up with this whole idea is like, whatever your special talent is, you're going to be used tonight, whether as a pinch runner, a pinch hitter, a defensive replacement, a designated hitter one day, this position the next day, that position the next day. We're going to maximize your positive traits. And that's what the Rays do is they don't see the negative. Well, they see the negatives, but they accentuate the positives. This guy's got a devastating slider. The rest of the pitches are below average, but this guy's got a devastating slider. We're going to use him in those situations, righty on righty, and he's going to throw 85, 90% sliders. And that's the way we're going to use him. It's Belichickian in a way. He always finds guys that, that other teams undervalue, but they play a certain role. They set the edge well. They're good man-to-man covers. They're good in the slot where they may be, not as good in other areas, but they put them in those situations that they're going to accentuate their positives. And that's how they get the best out of all these players when they failed at other places. It's not brain surgery, but I'm shocked more teams don't do it like the Rays do it.
I feel like teams are trying, but they're not getting to the same degree as what the Rays have done it. And I'll tell you this, I think it's a great comparison. It's very Tampa Bay Lightning-esque.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Tampa Bay Lightning-esque. And that's the cool thing right now, just in general as a Tampa sports fan, which it feels like the Rays are adding some of our prestige back after we lost a little bit of it, right? With our whole Tampa Bay. How cool is it to have all 3 teams at one time? Great. You've been around sports for a long time. How hard is it to find great management in the front office for a team? It's incredibly difficult.
Look how long the Bucs struggled with it.
Yes.
I mean, just bad GM after bad GM after bad GM. Yep. And you could talk about all the players you want and head coaching and all that stuff, but so much of these professional leagues is about talent acquisition. It's about talent acquisition. But it's also about team building.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think the management in all 3 of our places have gotten really, really good.
Yeah.
That it's not necessary. And I think Jason Light will be the first one to tell you in his first few years of drafting, he was much more about, the numbers and, more about the potential of a player and less about the character of the player, how he fits in it from a team standpoint. And he made a lot of mistakes in those areas. And when he started paying more attention to character, team fit, leadership, those things that you can't measure in a 40-yard dash, he started becoming a better drafter of personnel and a better acquirer of personnel. You see what Brisebois has done, under Iserman and learned, and then put his own spin on it. He's found guys and given up, quote, too much to get them that have come in and fit in perfectly here to the Lightning style of play. So, yeah, and obviously the Rays have kind of set the bar for that whole thing. But in baseball especially, it's 162. Guys get bored. It just becomes such a slog at times. Where with the Rays, they always, Madden always did a great job of keeping it fresh, and I think that to some degree Cash does the same thing, but in a different way. We don't have penguins or boa constrictors in the locker room, but he does it in the same way of keeping the guys light. It's never, life and death for Kevin Cash. He's never too high, never too low, keeps him on an even keel and really cultivates that, hey, we're all in this. We're the scrappy dogs, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays and the Yankees spending all that money. We're going to be the guys that are going to fight you and use, all 25 on the roster and go get it. So it's been a great formula, and it's a winning edge. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, Kevin Cash, I like how you brought him up. He knows his team. We talk about John Cooper all the time, and he's not afraid to make the big decisions, as we saw the past month. And Kevin Cash is the same way. It might be unpopular for him to pull some guys out of fantastic pitching performances. I know you had your opinion on the whole Jeffrey Springs thing, but
it's okay early in the season. It's okay.
Well, last night, did you see what happened just south of us in Miami, for crying out loud?
No, what happened?
The best pitcher in Major League Baseball, Sandy Alcantara, throws a complete game shutout in his second start of the season. Guess how long the game took?
Less than 2 hours?
An hour and 57 minutes.
Oh, an hour and 57. Oh, my God. That's great.
It's a wet dream for Major League Baseball. An hour and 57 minutes, he throws a complete game shutout. He's like the only one that really does that. So that was cool to see. But just in general, though, Kevin Cash is not afraid to make those decisions. He got burned in the World Series. We all know about that one. But he's not afraid to make those decisions, even pulling guys like he's done it twice this year already, where Harold's been in the five hole.
Yeah.
Starts out 0 for 2, and then we get to his third at bat in the 5th or 6th inning, and Kevin's like, nope, you're out. He doesn't hesitate. He took Yandy Diaz out in the 6th inning on the opening day to get the pinch runner, and that's one of your best players. And he talked about it. The RBI, who I think it was Randy, Yandy doesn't score on that play. Right. So Kevin Cash, to me, is the same way. He's kind of like he's moving all these pieces around, and I think truly, like we talked about the lack of impact of managers around the league. I think Kevin Cash, and I know he's probably getting signals from the front office like everybody, but at the same time, his on-the-field decision-making has been fantastic.
Yeah, he's pushed all the right buttons this year, no question about it. And that's another hallmark that the Rays have that a lot of other teams do. The Rays really, really cherish versatility, right? They want guys to be able to do a lot of different things and be able to use those special talents, as we just talked about, in certain situations. They're probably the best in the league at that. And they do it, it's interesting because the Rays obviously are a heavy analytics team. And they, sometimes too heavy for my liking, but it's, it works in the long run. There's no question that it works in the long run. Certain situations you can critique, but you've got to stick with your process. Your process is your process. I get it. I'd like a little bit more gut feeling in certain times, where you got a guy on the mound that's just untouchable and he's pitching the best he's ever pitched, and you don't want him to go through the lineup 3 times, but some days they're so dominant it just doesn't matter. And those are the days where you sometimes have to differ from maybe your hard and fast analytical rules. But yeah, again, Kevin Cash, to me, best manager in baseball, and has been for the last 5 years with what he's working with. No question about it. All right, we'll take our first break. We'll come back on the other side, talk a little Tampa Bay Lightning as they go up to Madison Square Garden tonight to take on the Rangers, with the Toronto Maple Leafs waiting in the wings in the playoffs. So we'll hit that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawGroup.com. Scott Jeeves is going to join us in the next couple of weeks for our Gator Report, a spring game, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Catch up on the website with Chris Lugo if you're looking to lose weight, testosterone replacement therapy, all there for you, BAMMC.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. Get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Golden Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're coming to you live from the slopes of Breckenridge, Colorado. I'm taking a little time this week to recharge as we look forward to the NFL draft, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks. We'll get to the Bucs here in just a second, but the Lightning are back at it tonight in Madison Square Garden against the Rangers, as they're what do they got? 6 games left, 5-6 games left. And they'll play 3 on the road. I believe last year I was kind of recounting some of those. And boy, the Lightning were not great early on. They were giving up 3 or more goals in the first, 5-6 games of that series. And not till the game 7, when they won 2-1, did they really start playing their defensive brand of hockey that they needed to play. And, oddly enough, when their back was against the wall, game 6 down 3-2, they found a way to win it and then came back and won it in game 7 as well. And it's that playoff experience that you say, okay, well, once again, it looks a lot like the same as last year, but oh no, it's not, because Toronto's done a lot of changing. And as Romano said in his column we talked about before, Toronto, it looks like they're trying to take a page out of those restructured book and add a little bit more grit and get a little bit more size, get a little bit more experience. They Luke O'Reilly, the Conn Smythe winner from St. Louis, Achari, Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty. So they've gotten some guys for some grit and some playoff experience, hoping that they can now finally match up in the postseason with the Lightning, and we'll see if they can do it. They got better goaltending probably with Matt Murray and Samsonov. So we'll see. I think Cooper likes the way his team is playing now, especially after these last few games where they've given up 4 goals in their last, four games. It's been a couple of shutouts for Vasilevsky. He has been phenomenal. He is locked in. And I'm anxious to see how they play against the Rangers tonight, if they can keep this going, because they don't need to take their foot off the gas. It's pedal to the metal here the rest of the way. And they got, 4 days off since which is unheard of. They haven't had that since probably, October or November. So they should be well rested tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They haven't gotten a break like that in a long, long time. And they played more games than anybody in the month of March. We know that. And that's where they kind of struggled. So I expect an energized team. They're going to be on a back-to-back with the Islanders on the other side of this tomorrow.
Yeah.
But this is a big game. This is a rematch of the last year's Eastern Conference Finals. Vasilevsky is definitely going to be a net for this one against Shesterkin, which is always a battle. TNT, by the way, so easy for you to find over there in Breckenridge. So that's going to be great. And yeah, I said this yesterday. The Lightning right now are in a very good spot. They've found their defensive structure. They seem to have figured out what pairings they want. Maybe Darren Radish is one of those guys that gets into this top 6 on the blue line, because he's looked better than a lot of those guys, certainly a lot more energized. And Vasilevsky's locked in. And you mentioned Toronto and all the additions they made. I think if you were a Lightning fan, you were kind of hoping, okay, maybe Toronto went a little too far by bringing in 6-7 guys at the deadline.
Right.
Thus far, it hasn't really mattered, I guess. And when you have top-end talent like they do with Matthews and Marner and Nylander and and Tavares, I guess in a way, like, how much of an impact is it really going to make when you have those stars? But I guess that's what you're kind of hoping for. But I still feel confident when you get into a playoff series. I don't care if it's Samsonov. I don't care if it's Murray. I don't care if it's Kildren. I don't care if it's this rookie they got in there right now who's played 5 games and been fantastic. Wall, I think, is his name.
Yeah.
I don't care. Andrei Vasilevsky is going to be the X factor in every series he's in. And that's why I feel good about it, even though everybody in Toronto thinks that this is the year, just like they thought last year was the year.
They always do. They
They
always
always
do, right?
The NHL is begging for it. They're begging for Toronto to get this over with, but the Lightning are peaking at the right time right now.
Yeah, let's just hopefully the refs stay out of it. And Vasilevsky named NHL's first star of the week, and why not? With his ridiculous numbers last week, a couple of shutouts. He's just been absolutely locked in. But, also the guys have been better in front of him. Much fewer odd man rushes, less wide open guys right in the slot. We've seen them just cover up, and their puck management has been a lot better. In the last week, he stopped 99 of 100 shots, posting a 3-0 record with a .33 goals against average and a .990 save percentage and 2 shutouts. Is that good?
It's a little good, I think.
Is that good? I think that's good. Oh. Yeah. This is, Vasi being Vasi. We want to overanalyze this team so often, but, and obviously Vasi's going to be better when the team is playing better around him. But it's playoff time. It's backs against the wall time, and it's Vasi time. It's Vasi time. It's as simple as I can put it.
Yeah, it's Vasi time. It's Braden Point time, who, by the way, won that series with Braden Point missing a few games last year. And that's the thing. You've been saying it all year long, that this team probably has 3 cups right now if Braden Point is on the ice.
That's what I think.
And, based on the season he's had, and I'm hoping he can get on a nice little flurry here so he can get to 50. That'd be awesome. Yep. But based on the season he had, what is he, 47 goals right now?
Yeah.
He's sitting on
48.
Yeah, he's 2 away. Based on the season he's had right now, I know Kucherov's got all the points, and that's great, but Braden Point, to me, has been the best player for this team all season long.
Yep.
He's been the engine, so I think you have to put him in there next to Vasilevsky, backs against the wall, playoff point. Let's call him playoff point, and that's a big thing too.
And I think you're going to see more energy from this team. I don't think this team has played its best hockey yet. We're seeing it right now. That's pretty good hockey they played in the last week, but I still don't think – I still think there's more room for Ross Colton, to be better and score more. I think
can Nick Paul score a goal?
Yes, my God, yeah. Tanner Janot.
He got his first goal the other night, which was good to see.
Yeah, get him off the schneid, and I think he can be better. You talked about the defensive pairings. Darren Radish has been given his shot. After his phenomenal year at the AHL, that to come up here and prove himself, and I think he's proved himself. And maybe the best news of all, Sergachev skating yesterday. So his knee injury or whatever that was, lower body injury, is not serious. That was a huge sigh of relief, I think, for a lot of people, that because that certainly could have derailed this playoffs. They're thin on the top, on the blue line. I think in terms of if they lose Hedman or Sergachev, that's going to be a tough one. So they need those guys to be healthy. And I think now those defensive pairings, Hedman, Perbix, Sergachev, Radish, which I think we'll see again tonight, Cole and Chernak, I think those are the pairings we're going to see. I think they've settled on now, and hopefully those guys can stay healthy the rest of the way.
Yeah, you're hoping that they can get those pairings to stay still, and also too, I think there's still a competition here for that bottom 6, maybe that bottom line. Because I know he's never going to be a big goal scorer or anything like that, but I like the energy that like a guy like Isamont brings.
Yes.
Maroon seems a bit energized once they put him there with Killorn and Cirelli.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see that development. So there's still a little competition there, I think, once we get there. And to the Lightning, to your point about the Lightning being thin on D, again, looking ahead to Toronto, they're thin on D. They're always thin on D.
Yeah.
So, and I still would put this Lightning's defense over Toronto's any day.
I would agree with that as well. I would agree. And, you can't say enough about the playoff experience and the playoff pressure that is brought to Toronto. It's just a different deal. And, they've got to find a way. And unfortunately, they keep running into the best team in the playoffs especially in the East, the last 3-4 years, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, look, I don't think there's any Lightning fan that's shaking in his boots looking at Toronto, even though they outplayed Tampa Bay pretty – I won't say significantly, but certainly in that series last year, there were points where I was like, we talked about it on the show. I guess this is not looking good. This is not the Lightning's usual defensive style. Vasi has not been as tight as he should, and then we said, but when this team's backs against the wall, they play their best hockey. What did they do? Down 1, game 6, come back and win, and then win a game 7 on the road. That's who they are, and that's who Toronto is, by the way. So. It works both ways. So we'll see tonight what happens with the Rangers. Hey, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll talk some Bucks. They made a really sneaky good signing yesterday with safety Ryan Neal. We'll talk about him, how he fits in, and this rumor mill out there that Mac Jones is coming to Tampa Bay. I don't see that. Is this more generated by the Patriots? I think it is. So quick break, back at 3. We'll hit the Bucks. Stay with us.
Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, coming to you live from the slopes of Breckenridge, Colorado. We're right here on the 4 o'clock run. If you've been to Breckenridge, you probably are familiar with the 4 o'clock run, because you can go all the way to the top of the mountain, maybe not the top of the mountain, but pretty close, and take a ski run all the way down to 4 o'clock when the lifts close, thus the name for you non-skiers. And we can ski right into almost the door of our condo, which is a beautiful thing. So as we're expecting sunny weather, it's going to get hot out here though, Nick. It's going to get into the 40s by Friday. So that's skiing in a t-shirt at 45 degrees. You can literally ski in a t-shirt out here. And there will probably be some of that being done. I don't know if we're going to break out the shorts, but definitely, it'll definitely be a t-shirt day for sure. I have to redo some of those pictures from 30 years ago. No doubt. All right, let's get into the Bucks. They made a nice signing yesterday. Ryan Neal comes over, another quality safety. Or you were telling me PFF was ranked number 1 last year?
Yeah, he was ranked the number 1 safety by PFF last year. Very, very underrated player around the league.
and he brings the wood. He's a physical player. Had 66 tackles last year, only 3 interceptions in his career, which is not quite what you're looking for from the safety position. But has become more of a starter the last year or so, and kind of I would call him maybe a late bloomer, but certainly a position of need for the Buccaneers. And when you can get a guy that's got some experience in this league and is that highly rated, boy, I think it's a hell of a pickup for this team.
And by the way, if this guy's a free agent the first week of the process, I bet this guy was snatched up quickly based on everything. It's kind of interesting. Seattle non-tendered him a few days ago after they signed Julian Love to a long-term deal out of free agency. So they non-tender this guy, and he becomes a free agent, and immediately the Bucs pounce. And it fills a need. We already talked about it. The safety position, you lose Mike Edwards, you lose Keanu Neal, probably not bringing Logan Ryan back. Jordan Whitehead from last year. There's a big hole there. Right now, if the season had started before this, you would have had Antoine Winfield and Nolan Turner back there. And you were definitely going to have to address this in the draft. But they get ahead of it right now, and they get him on such a cheap deal. I still can't believe, even late in the process, that they get him for such a steal. And to me, this just adds to Jason Licht, to me, has done as good as you can possibly do. Given the cap constraints. I think this signing and the Gaines signing for cheap, I think those two guys have untapped potential, and those are probably the best moves that Jason's made, other than retaining Jamel Dean and Levante David.
Well, and I think you have to, we have to acknowledge something, that this team has a different cachet now, post Brady era. Okay. Obviously Tom Brady's not here, but there's still a residue. He elevated this franchise. So people think of the Buccaneers now, they don't think of, even though, obviously won a Super Bowl back in 2002, there was a lot of lean years after that. So I think, the organization had again kind of fallen into that Buccaneers culture. And now, I mean, these guys, Neil could have gone anywhere. Baker Mayfield, for whatever, you want to say about Baker Mayfield, and he could have gone to a lot of different other places, but he looked at the Bucs and said, that's the place I want to be. So I think now that Brady's gone, it's still a place, a destination place. And if they get quarterback right, there's no reason that this team cannot bounce back rather quickly. But as the folks at Pewter Report wrote, and we talked about last week with Scott Reynolds, this is a huge draft for Jason Licht. It is a humongous draft for Jason Licht, and we'll see where it goes. I think this is probably the hardest year maybe ever in recent memory to pick that first round pick, because I think they could go anywhere. We talked a lot about the quarterback position yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. They're hosting the kid from Houston, Clayton Tune, who put up some big numbers last year. I think 40 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Has started for 3 years at Houston. Kind of a day 2, day 3 prospect. Interesting guy. Could be another Brock Purdy. You don't know. But they've, Chase Edmonds, Chase McLaughlin, all these additions that they've added. You mentioned Greg Gaines. This roster right now, if you look around the NFC South, it's pretty damn good. And it will go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they're doing a good job of filling the holes, but in recent years, and this is kind of the shift in philosophy, and this is what happens when you have Brady and when you don't. They wanted to get veterans in here, guys who have been around, done that. But the result was you had a lot of injuries, and you were slow. You are slow all over the field, these positions. So if you view Greg Gaines as a replacement for a Nacho straight up, or an Akeem Hicks who they still want to bring back, whatever, right. I think he's going to be a much better player than those guys. I think he's going to be a lot more athletic than those guys, make plays. If you view Ryan Neal as a replacement for Logan Ryan, he's going to be a lot more healthier probably than Logan Ryan. Obviously, he's 5 years younger. And then Keanu Neal, he can hit like Keanu Neal, but this guy actually can play coverage. He was the second best coverage safety in the league this year. And whenever the quarterbacks threw his way, their completion percentage was only like 53%, or it was something really low. It was one of those numbers. Their QBR maybe, I think, was 53 when they were targeting towards Ryan Neal. So he's good in coverage as well. Chase Edmonds, maybe he doesn't come with the same pedigree as Leonard Fournette, but he's way faster than Leonard Fournette, who's running with a piano on his back. I know that. And I think they're going to add to that running back position at some point in the draft as well, too. So I think that's the difference. They've gotten cheaper guys in here that are younger and are going to be add a lot more quickness to this team all over the field.
Yeah, this the numbers from Pewter Report are pretty impressive for Neal. He's 6'3", 200, which is a bigger size safety. He's got versatility. He plays in the box and a free safety. Last year, he played 362 snaps in the box and 236 at free safety and 118 in the slot. Yeah. So he can also play in the slot, which is something that the Bucs are looking for. They got to have a guy that can play in the slot. And, at that size, that he's super versatile. 66 tackles, career high last year, 4 tackles for loss, 8 passes defensed. As you mentioned, he's good, against the ball. Added an interception, a sack, and a forced fumble to that stat line, playing 14 games for a playoff team. That's from Pewter Report. That's pretty bad. Those are some big numbers for a 27-year-old guy that's got some experience in this league. It does add probably some more athleticism to the position. Definitely adds more size. So, yeah, what another great pickup for Jason Light. And we're not even to the draft yet, but the draft is going to be huge. I think the draft is going to decide whether this is a 7 or 8 win team or a 10 or 11 win team. And that's obviously the difference between a playoff team and not being a playoff team. That's how big this draft is.
And that's what Richie had asked here. Does that mean they skip on picking a corner in the first and wait till the third or beyond? I already thought before this they were probably going to skip on corner in the first round, especially after they got Jamel Dean. I don't think there's really any sense in going first round corner. I could have seen first round safety. I mean, Brian Branch is a name that Scott has really put out there, and I don't think this stops them necessarily from getting a Brian Branch or a safety that they really. I don't think it stops them necessarily. They're going to go best player available, I think, if they keep that pick, because this guy has so much versatility, and Brian Branch has versatility as well, and you just need bodies back there at the end of the day. So I don't think it stops them from doing that. We had the quarterback discussion yesterday. Would the Bucs entertain it? And I'm still not sold yet that they would go that route. I still think if they keep that pick, offensive tackle probably to me seems like the position or edge rusher at this point. I'm still leaning towards that direction.
Well, the beauty of it is with what they've done now in the offseason, they have eliminated any need, a must-have for the first pick, right? They went out and got Baker Mayfield, so they don't have to go quarterback, right? They went out and got Ryan Neal for safety, so they don't have to go there. I mean, they'll pick one, no question about it. But they don't want to have any have-tos in that first round, which allows the draft to come to you. If Will Levis or Hendon Hooker falls to you at 19, you take them. Then you do the rest of the draft. You really try to plug those holes, but you got to me, quarterback is still your biggest need.
And maybe, by the way, the fact that they're plugging up some of these holes here, does that tell you that maybe they're thinking about taking a quarterback?
Yes,
that they're trying to plug up some of these holes?
Absolutely. They want the freedom to be able to make that pick. And that's what this is all about. Look at what they've done. And they've made it so they do not have to pick any certain position at the top of the draft. They don't need a starting safety now. They don't need a starting defensive tackle now. They don't need a starting corner now. They don't need a lot of these things that they thought they would desperately have to need. So yeah, that gives them the versatility to go ahead and make that selection. And look, I know a lot of you don't want to hear it, but again, whoever you pick at 19, even if it's a position player, is no absolute guarantee that they're going to be a starter, let alone a Pro Bowler. And again, quarterback is still we can talk about all these other positions. Quarterback, you don't have a quarterback long term. You think you might in Trask, but do we really? What are the chances? Baker Mayfield, he's a bridge guy. If he turns into something more, fine, great, fantastic. You still have that guy on your roster. You can deal him at another time. Hendon Hooker or Will Levis aren't going to lose value sitting there while you watch Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask play, and those guys sit and watch for a while, which is the best way to develop a quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, some guys are different. I get it. But, if it's either one of those two guys, I would like to see them, they're not immediate come in and start type of guys, especially Hooker with his injury, obviously. And Levis, I think both of these guys would do well to kind of sit back and learn and not be pressured to jump right in. And plus, they're going to have a good seasoned team around them. And it's not going to be one of these, a quarterback coming into a situation of the worst team in the league. This is a very, very good roster. So I think it'll afford you a lot of different options, and quarterback is one of them. And I know if they take Will Levis or Hendon Hooker, many Bucs fans are going to lose their freaking minds.
Yeah.
But I think it's the way you got to go in this league. You got to get a long-term quarterback, and either one. And if one of those guys or both of those guys turn out to be good NFL quarterbacks, you're going to rue the day that you took, a safety at that position, and maybe that player didn't quite pan out.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what kind of level of risk Jason Licht wants to take, and Todd Bowles, for that matter, who I think is coaching for his job. I think it just depends. What level of risk do you want to take? And if you take one of these quarterbacks in the first round, I think all three of them, take Young and Stroud out of the equation. The next three, and that even includes Hendon Hooker, who I love, and I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think he's quarterback 3. And I think a lot of people actually are starting to come around to that. Yep. They're starting to come around to that. The Hendon Hooker is definitely going in the first round. It's just a matter of where at this point. And he's visiting with some teams in the top 10 as well. So I think Hendon Hooker has definitely started to get his value up, while Levis has kind of shot down a little bit. And Anthony Richardson, of course, is going to be in the top 5 probably when it's all said and done.
That's the wild card.
But I think all of them probably sit. So it's just a matter of what kind of level of risk do you want to take. But that's the way of the league. They're all going to sit. I brought this stat up yesterday that quarterbacks drafted since 2016, and there's been, I think, over 20 of them. 29% of them, only 29% of them started week 1. So that's just kind of the way of the league. So that's what's going to happen. But it's a risk game with Jason Licht at this point. And I just don't know if it's Will Levis down there for the reasons that I've stated on this show over and over, if he's worth that risk. But I know but they have to add a quarterback, though, because of the new rule, because they got to carry 3 quarterbacks. I think that's a mandatory rule now because of what happened in the San Francisco game, where they had to have, McCaffrey playing quarterback for a little bit. They don't want to have that happen. So I think that's a reason why they're probably working out some of these day 3 guys, like a Clayton Tune. They'll probably give this Jake Haener from Fresno State a shot as well in these workouts. Stetson Bennett's probably off everybody's draft board after the video that came out yesterday, so forget about that one. But I think eventually they're probably going to get to a quarterback, and I would bet at this moment it's probably going to be later, though, in the draft.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, before I get out of here, I got to talk some Masters as it starts tomorrow. Tiger will be teeing off at 10:18. Going to be a tough week for Tiger. He says he's already sore. He hasn't played a lot this year. He looks good on the driving range. 10:18 tomorrow, so he goes early, late Friday, and then late on Friday, so he'll have about 18, 19 hours to get ready again. But the big problem is there's weather coming in this weekend. There's going to be some rain delays as a front moves through. It's going to be in the 50s on Saturday, which is not good for Tiger's leg or his back. And if he has to stop and then start up again, that's going to be tough for him because it takes him about 4 hours to go through his routine to get ready to play. And that's, stretching the legs, the back, everything that he does. And obviously, if you're starting and stopping, you don't have 4 hours to get warmed up. I mean, or you just have to try and stay warm for a long time. It's going to be a battle for Tiger. And, you never want to count him out. And I think he's 60-1, but this is a tough ask for him. And it's a fascinating tournament. All the LIV golf guys, golf guys are there. And it doesn't seem to be as contentious as a lot of people thought it might be. Bryson DeChambeau has lost like 30 pounds. I haven't seen him in a while.
How many pounds has Phil lost? Did you see the photo of the Masters, the dinner last night?
Yes. Yeah.
Phil is like all the way like in the back on the right. And I had to like zoom in. I'm like, is that Phil Mickelson?
Yeah.
I don't know what the Saudi money has done to this man. Is he okay? Can someone check on Uncle Phil? He doesn't look in good health. I'm just going to put it that way.
We'll see. The golf course exposes everything. We'll see what type of, mental shape that he's in, physical shape that he's in.
I have to ask you this because I don't know when you're going to be on next to talk Masters, but I know you'll be back next Monday to see the winner. Yes. What would your reaction be? Because Greg Norman already put this out there that if a live guy wins, he sees a scenario where all the live guys that are in the field are going to come rushing onto the 18th green to celebrate together. I mean, what would your reaction be to that?
Bush League. Bush League. Respect the Masters. Come on. You've never done that before. Don't do some trumped up, manufactured, here's the plan, here's the script, let's go do this type stuff. That's beneath the Masters. Show some class, which of course Live Golf has none. Come on. Just make it organic. If the guys want to come out, fine. But don't. And you know what Greg Norman's doing. Oh, we got to show out. We got to show our colors. Blah 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 blah. Because that league, was just in Orlando last weekend, and it's a joke. Did you watch any of that?
No.
I watched some of it. I watched some, and I saw a lot of video from people that were there. The players wearing shorts, just the whole. It's a carnival. It's a freaking carnival. It's not. It's goofy. The team aspect is just, it's not something when Bob Herrick was on, he was trying to say they need to really, kind of dig in and make that a calling card, which they're not doing. I don't care about it. Nobody cares about it. And every one of these live golf guys will say, yeah, I got my money, but they're there in the big time, back in the big time this week. And they all know that this is different. It's different. They're playing in the minor leagues. I don't care how much money they're making. It's minor league golf. It's exhibition golf. It's a carnival.
I truly think the only guy in Live that has a shot to win this week is Cam Smith. I truly think that, because I think he's actually the only guy that went over there that you could have made the argument at the time that he left that he was the best in the world at that moment. Yeah. I think he's the only guy that's got a shot to win this week on Live.
Well, I mean, putting is so crucial at Augusta, obviously, and he's just a phenomenal putter. I really haven't seen how well these other guys are playing, but it's going to be interesting. They're not battle tested. This is a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah, I know Koepka won this week in Orlando. Take that for what it's worth. But, I mean, I know that course in the Masters, it's completely different.
Totally different. Completely different. So, yeah, look, I'll be interested to watch it, though. See what's what. But I don't think, Tiger, I wouldn't expect any miracles from Tiger this week. That's for sure. No doubt about it. But, I'll be watching. They got fog this morning, so I don't know how much Tiger's going to get out and be able to practice, but we'll see.
I'm probably going to bring a monitor for tomorrow's show to be right here in front of us, so I can have it on at all times during the show, because I got to watch every shot.
All right. Well, you and Sean take it the rest of the week. I know you got Jason Powers coming in tomorrow to co-host with you as well. So good luck the rest of the week, and I'll talk to you guys on Monday, and hopefully I'll come back in one piece.
Yeah. No more accidents on the slopes, please.
That was an easy. That was an easy fall.
Make them minor. At your age, if you fall down, you don't know.
Easy there now.
You don't know what's
there, youngin. All right, boys. Have a good show. I'll see you on Monday.
All right. See ya. All right. We'll welcome Sean in here. Oh, that's JP. There we go. We'll welcome Sean in here now.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to JP for joining us. He doesn't have to do this stuff. He's on vacation. No. He's having a good time, but he still wanted to get some takes in because it's so busy in Tampa Bay sports right now, Sean. This is the beauty. This is the beauty of living in a nice, great city called Tampa Bay, where it's nonstop. It's nonstop, and I'll leave it at that. But anyway, I wanted to transition real quick because we hit Tampa Bay really hard with the Rays last night. Which, Sean, I don't know if you saw that. What the Rays did. Fantastic, and that's why I had to break out my old Devil Rays, my Nike jersey here.
I'm really liking the hat. Not gonna lie.
Yep, and it put me in a great mood. Yesterday when we got off the show, I went straight to the fields, threw the baseball for the first time in years.
Because I heard
the Rays have inspired me. And
we're old.
I can still do it. So next thing for me is I need to hit some balls now. I need to get in the swing of that. So very excited for that. But I am going to transition a little bit here because there was a topic, and I talked about it with you this morning. I've been writing a lot about it for Outsider and on3.com. It's like still going. We talked about it on Monday a little bit, and that is this whole Angel Reese situation. And I still can't for the life of me. It's Wednesday now, and again, I guess this is a good thing for women's basketball. We're talking about it still, but it's not something about the game is the thing. But I can't believe it's still going, and Angel Reese continues to add more layers to it. And I'll just kind of recap what I saw yesterday. So she was on with Brandon Marshall, former NFL player and UCF alum, by the way. Go Knights. And he was talking about, and I know people saw the Jill Biden where she wanted to invite the Iowa team with LSU, right? And she cited because they played such a great game. And she used the word sportsmanship. First of all, that game was not close ever.
No.
Number two, this is the world we live in. Participation trophy city. No, the winners go to the White House and the losers watch the winning team at the White House. That's what happened on the TV. That's what happened. So Jill Biden incorrect with that statement. But that's that. And then Angel Reese yesterday said that she doesn't accept Jill Biden's apology, right? The First Lady of the United States doesn't accept her apology. And then she revealed that I guess Jill Biden was supposed to come into the locker room before the game to give a little speech to both teams. And for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And Brandon Marshall was like, why did you not want them to come into the locker room? And Angel Reese goes, because Joe Biden, that is, didn't pick us to win in his bracket. So that's why they didn't want the first lady of the United States in their locker room before the game, because the president did not pick them to win. I mean, listen, I got no problem with what Angel Reese did during the game. A little perplexed why she continued to do it after the game. But why are we still talking about this? Why do you continue to go on? And it's like digging a hole, and it's making the narrative continue to go.
I think you're right. No problem with what you did in the game. When we discussed that a couple days ago, I mean, more eyeballs on women's college basketball is great. That being said, the comments yesterday, listen, I think there's a positive and a negative. The positive is you're still in the news. People are still talking about you. People are still talking about the game, talking about the sport. So I guess that's the positive. The negative is it just looks very petty. And it just is like if it was anybody else, like if you're talking about anybody else, like, oh, I'm not going to go to this place. It's the White House. And I don't care. It's okay. And no offense to Dr. Joe Biden or Joe Biden, right? No offense. They don't strike me as heavy sports people. So I don't think if, Joe Biden was filling out that bracket, I will guarantee you he probably didn't know anything about any of those teams, and not even the men's side, especially the women's side. Like, let's be real. None of us really knew. I mean, we kind of know probably 4 or 5 teams and some of the players. Besides that, picking women's, college basketball is basically like flipping a million coins and hoping it all lands right. So it comes out petty to me. I don't really like it. I don't care what political side you fall on. It comes down to you won a championship. Going to the White House is an honor in sports. I mean, that's top of the top. And you're going to say, no, we're not going. I don't accept her apology because let's be real. Dr. Joe Biden's like, oh, sportsmanship. We want sportsmanship. I don't think she understands, like, it's not how it's done. But it's so petty. It's kind of annoying at this point that we're getting to.
That's what I'm saying. It's gotten to that. It's like, I was with you. I was with you when you said everything that you did. That was fine. But we're days removed from the drama and the controversy. And then she made some kind of comment that people have continued to like take it out of context and continue to make it into this. And like, I find it ironic. It was ESPN who put that bit out there. And I'm like, well, it's ESPN and all these people that continue to like keep this whole narrative going where they make it it's become like a divisive issue.
It has. It's
actually become a very divisive issue. It's become a racial issue, which it just seems like everything becomes that. And, I mean, who are the people that keep saying it? It's people who are loud on TV that bring that up, and then it stirs everybody up. That's what ends up happening. And even Angel Reese said that it didn't have to become that.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, it's perfect for TV because you could take a stance, and it's a very divisive stance, and it's going to get people clicks. It's going to get people talking on socials. Listen, we're talking about it, right? So clearly it's getting people talking. The divisiveness on that side of the coin, where a couple days ago, what we were talking about, no, I don't think it should be brought up in sports. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. What we were specifically talking about was the way that it was done. It was done at the end of the game. It was a little too much, but hey, you're talking, right? It brought more eyeballs on it. This in particular, again, it kind of sours the stuff that we were talking about the last couple of days in a completely different way. I mean, it sours the women's game because let's be real here. I think there's a bunch of other teams and a bunch of other women that would love to go to the White House regardless of what the first lady said. Like, if Iowa won, let's be real, and they brought up a good point, which was, oh, if Iowa won, would you be inviting us? And again, I think that she can say, oh, that's not the narrative I wanted to paint a couple days ago with the celebration, right? Mm-hmm. But aren't you kind of bringing up that narrative now by saying, oh, if Iowa would have won, would you have invited us? I think you're also bringing up that narrative in that sense, so you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't say, oh, that's not the way I wanted that narrative to be spun, and then say, oh, well, you wouldn't have invited us if Iowa won. That's where you can't have it both ways. You can't say that and then mean something else.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's best to just say nothing at all. Just say nothing at all.
But Nick, it's fun. Listen, no offense, right?
It's content.
You have a camera in front of your face with Brandon Marshall, who I'm sure she's looked up to, and like everybody does, right? He's killing it in the game right now. Again, there was not a lot of eyeballs in the women's game. Now there is, and she's getting the platform because she is basically the face of women's college basketball at this moment right now.
Yeah, and she's not even going. She's going to forego going to the WNBA, and she has good reason to, by the way, because she's making tons more money at LSU than she would in the WNBA. So if she comes back next year, I mean, she's probably going to be close to a millionaire, I'd have to assume, by the time we get to next year, and people are going to want to see it. People are going to want to see it. And if Caitlin Clark decides to come back to college this year, are you telling me we don't want to have that non-conference matchup at the beginning of the season? That's 100%. How you grow. That's how you grow the women's game. So I understand in a way this has helped put it on the spotlight. I mean, they're leading. They're leading ESPN with this yesterday. We're talking about it still, and I'm talking about it because I mean I look at the content game every single day. I'm in it, right? And I have to think that half of the things I wrote about yesterday were about this, clearly, because there's an actual interest in this controversy. And I think it's what's unique about it. We don't see this in women's sports a lot.
No.
We don't see controversy. What's the most controversy / divisive? What's the, I mean, maybe the U.S. women's national team has become more of a divisive figure in recent years because, some people take exception with things that players say and things like that, which I'm not going to get into really at all. It is what it is. But I think maybe that's the only example. I can't think of anything else that's become an issue like this in the women's
not in the women's game. No, I mean, yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. The national team, they wanted fair pay. And I think in that case, that is one of the only instances where I would 100% agreed with. I think they deserved more pay. I love women's soccer, especially the national team. I'm not a soccer guy, and I would watch every single game with the national team. So that was, I think you are right with that. In this case, I still find it, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that women in college are getting paid more than WNBA. That's what I found. When I heard that, I thought that was insane. I know it's LSU and SEC.
The thing, though, Sean, in all reality, let's keep it real here. You let me know, and the rules, and this doesn't really have to really do much anything with it because NIL now. But if the WNBA gets 9.9 million viewers for a WNBA finals, then you let me know.
Oh, 100%.
You let me know. Regardless if anybody likes it or not, there's a reason why the WNBA players don't make as much money. There's 100%. A reason. It's not when people make blanket statements that, who's the best player in the WNBA? Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, she should make as much as LeBron because she's the equivalent to LeBron in the league. It does not work that way, folks. It just doesn't. And people that continue to make blanket statements like that without any sort of research done with it or any kind of context added to it, it makes it a divisive issue when it really doesn't need to be. So that's the thing. To answer your question there about the fact that college players are making more. That's just the system we have now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing because she's going to stay all 4 years. She's a sophomore. She's going to stay all 4 years. She's going to be the face of college basketball for better or worse or whatever. And I don't mean to say that as if she's like a scrub or something. Again, she won the most outstanding player of the year award. She's one of the best players in the country. She'd be a top 5 pick if she went to the WNBA tomorrow, probably. But I mean, that's just kind of where it is.
And that's the thing. I think some of the conversation is talking about character and all that stuff. No, like, again, she's an amazing player. What she did is incredible. She's going to be in the WNBA one day, easily, right? When it comes to the pay, no, you hit it right on the head. You're 100% right. I'm saying the problem is even in the women's game, like obviously if you're going to college football, men's basketball, you can kind of see it. I'm saying the fact that women's college basketball, and it is more popular than the WNBA. Like it showed it in the ratings, right? Mm-hmm. There needs to be some, because again, it's great because they're staying all 4 years because they're making more money. But the fact that you're making more money in college and not in the professional league, in that sense, the WNBA needs to figure something out. Like, I'm not saying give them a huge pay raise, but if you're having women make more money in college, then when they go professional, I mean, it's not like we're talking about Bryce Young making significantly more in college. I mean, he made money, but when he goes to the NFL, he's getting $30 million guaranteed right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whereas these women are making more in college, and when they go to the WNBA, they're taking a pay cut to continue playing basketball.
Exactly. That's why NIL, to me, it's more beneficial, I think, to women's sports than it is to college sports, except for basketball. Men's college basketball, I mean, there's only 60 guys that are getting drafted.
Yeah.
Of the 60 that get drafted, maybe 25 of them stick in the NBA, realistically. So think how many college basketball teams there are around the country. So it's beneficial for most guys to stay all 4 years or 5 years when they got the COVID year and play, because you never know, you might not play again after that. So it's beneficial for that, for college basketball when it comes to a men's standpoint. But for the top players in college basketball, it's still the one and done season, because guess what? Like you just said, you're going to make X and X guaranteed just by hearing your name called in the first 10 picks. So that's the thing. And in football, again, there's a lot of football teams. It's beneficial for the lower guys to stay for 4 years and make some money and things like that. But if you're a Bryce Young or anybody like that, the second you're eligible, you're gone. You're gone. There's no intent to that. So it's the fascinating times, really, I think, with the NIL world we kind of live in.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's very interesting, but kind of wrap this on a bow. I think if we keep talking about women's sports, more people are going to watch. I haven't watched women's college basketball in years. This is the first year I've actually watched games. So next year, this is going to be a storyline I'm going to be interested in. There's going to be teams that I really want to watch play. So it's good for the sports. It's good for the entire whole of sports, even though some of the things she's talking about and saying are kind of idiotic, because anybody would dream to be in that situation. You have to respect it. She's getting more eyeballs in the game. I respect her as a player and as a human, and more power to her.
Yep. I mean, again, it's Wednesday. We're still talking about the women's final from 4 days ago. And today I don't see anybody talking about UConn. Again, it reaffirms what everybody was saying. They had more interest in the women's Final Four than they did the men's Final Four. So there's that. But we'll take a break here after that discussion. Really good discussion. Definitely wanted to get into that because it's been such a crazy, divisive topic lately. So thank you, Sean, for chiming in with your thoughts. We'll take a break and we'll get back into some stuff with local and from a national level as well. The NFL, Major League Baseball, some college stuff. We'll do it all when we come back here on the JP Peterson Show here on a Wednesday.
Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Golden Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on a Wednesday, middle of the week. We continue to roll on here. Again, thank you to JP for joining us for an hour as he continues his nice staycation up there in Colorado. Brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Once again, Chris Lugo joined us on Monday for a nice conversation. Encourage everyone to check that out. And again, 11:45 every Mondays with Dr. Lugo. But we just came off a discussion there talking about the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, which was really good. And I want to stick in college sports a little bit because, you know, right now it's kind of like that we're waiting for stuff to happen in the NFL. We're kind of on the fast road to the NFL draft, but the college game continues to be year round as well. It's reached that point like the NFL. And as every offseason becomes, it's all about expansion. We talked a little bit about NIL last segment with the Angel Reese stuff, but expansion's a big thing. And it's a big thing definitely for us in particular as people who attended UCF, and we do a UCF podcast, right? With the Big 12 expansion and Pac-12 and stuff like that. But yesterday there was a big I guess bombshell, if you will. I don't know if that's big enough to say it, maybe, about what's going on with the Pac-12 as they search for those media rights deal. Sean, I know you're very up to speed on this stuff, and we did a full hour on this actually about a month ago, I want to say. Maybe a little bit ago.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but we did get new news yesterday, so I'll let you kind of relay that.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know or wants a much longer deep dive, I implore you to go check out Charge On YouTube. Just search Charge On podcast.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And for those who are not, like, we're just saying, "Oh, it's a UCF. Why would I listen to it?" No, this was a full-on discussion in length about the Pac-12 and the Big 12 expanding and kind of the changing nature of college football.
Yeah, because honestly, it does affect UCF, but if it does affect college football as a whole, FSU, it affects a lot of people because the Pac-12, again, being a Power 5 conference, it's not looking good. And I have to keep up to date more so than most because, you know, this could directly benefit or hurt the Big 12 in a way. So I've kind of been keeping up with it a little more. But Dennis Dodd, who's with CBS Sports, came out with an article yesterday saying that the Pac-12 is unlikely to reach a media rights deal with more than 50% of games airing on TV, which a longtime consultant said. So basically, what that means is the problem that the Pac-12 has been running into is the Big 12 kind of cut them off at their feet and made a deal early. Struck a deal with ESPN and Fox early for a deal that's worth around $32 million for every Big 12 school. Problem with the Pac-12 is they believed they were more lucrative than the Big 12, and they'd be able to get that or more at any time. But the problem is the Pac-12, with everything going on economically and with them trying to strike deals, Nick, and all of you guys, they have not been able to find a similar deal to the Big 12. It has been vastly different and a lot less money. So with this coming out now, there was some rumors that Apple might be in play, maybe Amazon. Amazon, the rumor was they only wanted one game, so they didn't want to buy the whole package. They only wanted one Pac-12 game a week, which would be the main one. Apple was like, we're interested, but now it just kind of, the rumor now is that Apple is no longer interested, which one companies with the most money in the world, and they're not even interested. Disney, they're in a financial flux. They're not looking to purchase the Pac-12. Every major network right now is kind of saving their assets. So right now, when you're looking at it, the Pac-12 and the commissioners of the Pac-12 are saying, we need to find a deal that is close enough to the Big 12 to make us feel okay about staying in this conference. Because if not, we're going to the Big 12 or we're going to the Big 10. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what it's come down to. Hear this, Nick. The place that now might be potentially buying it, and all they're looking for right now is like, if they get around 25, this teams will likely stay. But imagine waking up on a Saturday and you're going to go watch college football. And obviously Pac-12 is like at 10 p.m. So you have your dinner and you have to turn on the CW to watch your Pac-12.
I've tried with Live Golf and I can't do it. Okay. Sports on the CW, they need to blow it up. Okay. No.
But, and that's what folks, that's what it's coming down to. Basically the lowest of the bottom of the barrel. It's the bottom of the barrel of none of the major networks want it. And you're looking at teams, specifically Arizona and a couple others, that are saying, okay, they set a deadline for April 14th. The deadline was April 14th to strike a deal. We're almost a week to that date. And it looks like that's going to have to get extended. Now, the question is, are these commissioners willing to extend it? Or are they going to say, we see the writing on the wall, we're not waiting, we're just going to jump ship now? That's the question. And a lot of these commissioners, we've talked about it on Charge On, Nick. A lot of these commissioners are buds. Like, they are best friends. They've been together for a while. They all live very close to each other. So it's a quick hour plane ride to wherever they need to go. But money talks. And when the money is not going to be coming in and you're going to be financially, I know the ACC, that's, not a great deal, but financially in the long run, the worst Power 5 conference, I think people are seeing the writing on the wall. And I suspect you'll see very soon some teams say, we'll just go over to the Big 12 because it's going to be very lucrative with the basketball things that might be coming very soon. The football, obviously. And they already had that deal in place for X amount of years. So it's looking like that might be the case, Nick. But I don't know what we've talked about it at length. But with this new news where it's looking like nobody's involved, like nobody really is interested in paying $30 million for this product. Kind of what do you see now in the coming weeks?
Why would anybody want to pay for this? Like you said, the writing's on the wall. Look at the messages. When you have two huge programs like USC and UCLA, two moneymakers, by the way. I mean, this is both teams in Los Angeles that say, no, we're good. We're going to the Big Ten. Now, I hate that. I think it's ruining the fabric of college football. It's blowing up rivalries. Regional rivalries are dead. The UCF, USF, War and I-4 should be played every single year. And now we have no idea when that's going to happen. I mean, could you imagine, and keeping it local, could you imagine a scenario where Florida State and Florida don't play? Could you imagine that? You can't.
No.
But the way everything's going, it's going to get to that at some point. It's going to get to that at some point where these teams just aren't going to play each other every single year. I think it's terrible, but it's driven by greed, which is what college football has become. It's all over the place. I think this is an issue to me that's deeper than the NIL stuff, which whatever. The expansion thing, I think, to me is more of an issue that really strikes a nerve with me, because we're going to dumb it down to 3 big conferences. I think everybody talks about the SEC and everybody talks about the Big Ten. Those are the 2 best conferences. But the Big 12 to me has been the most vocal and is in the best shape because they've gotten the media rights deal. That's massive. They're in the best shape to expand further and to try to get some of those teams from the Pac-12. Because if you're sitting in the Pac-12 right now and you're in Oregon or you're Washington and Arizona State, I'm going to throw Colorado in there because I know Dion has added a lot of prestige to that program. And maybe some of these other ones there that are bigger brands, Utah. If you're one of those teams, are you going to just continue to sit here and die in the Pac-12 and be in no man's land? No, you're not going to. Now, do I think all these teams are just going to float to the Big 12? No, I don't. If I had to bet, I'd probably say an Oregon would probably rather go to the Big 10. I think that'd be possible. But if the Big 12 can get the other schools involved, that leaves the Pac-12 with 6 schools probably, and that'd be like the Cows of the world, the Stanfords of the world, the Arizonas of the world, the Oregon State. It's not moving much of the needle there. So that conference to me then becomes dead. And this is what you get. And I don't think that's great for college football, for college sports in general. From a local level, it hurts USF to the core. And this is the problem when it comes to USF's issues with football, because football runs the show. We know that. USF has picked the worst time, the absolute worst time to be where they are as a football program. They have. It's unfortunate because there were some really good years, though, and not too long ago. They were at the top of the conference when they were going back and forth with UCF, and it was a fun time. But we're not there anymore with USF. So when it comes to them trying to kind of expand themselves, now the new stadium I think is going to help them. The indoor facility, which was way overdue, has been here, but this is still an athletic department, or not. I shouldn't say athletic department. This is still an administration at the top that has never put sports as the priority. In fact, Sean, I wanted to tell you, we had Will Turner on from 24/7 Sports. Probably, this is about a year and a half ago. We were talking about USF, and he went to USF, and he says that, you go to orientation, they don't even mention athletics. It's not even brought up. There's no hype video. And I was thinking, okay, the first time I went to visit UCF, and I'm comparing the 2 schools in a way on this sense, but I'm not trying to make it a big rivalry thing.
Be honest, Nick. Just be honest.
Just be honest. I mean, the first thing they show you is a hype video for the football team. They get you excited about it. And USF, they don't do that, Will said. And I don't know if that's changed now. This has been a year and a half ago. We've talked about on this show, Michael Kelly and the new administration at the top are trying, I think, to make it more of a priority, the athletic department, because that's the way of the land now. You cannot raise your head. Oh, we're good at nutrition, or we're good at medical. That's all great, but athletics run universities. Athletics bring in income, and that's what USF has to get to. And that's why it's so important as I kind of transition into what USF needs to do, because we got spring ball coming around here, and Alex Golish in his first spring game action. This is probably the most critical hire right now for USF is Alex Golish. There's a lot on his plate. He's got to win games, first of all. He's got to win games. But he has to raise the prestige of this university to a higher level that I think has the potential to be there, that has just been completely untapped. They've got to get that stadium built. It's got to be on campus. There needs to be an energy. There needs to be a buzz. And you got to win football games. I think they're set up to do that with the new look AAC, because again, the schedules have a bunch of, Rice and Charlotte and the UTSAs of the world. And I think it's a lot more doable for USF this time to be a much better player. And because of where college football is going, if USF wants to be relevant on the outside of this, they've got to win now. They've got to put themselves back into the front of expansion, because I think probably 5-6 years ago, they might have been near the top of the line. They might have been near there, and I think they've fallen off completely from that, and they've got to get that back because of the way it's changing.
And we can make this a USF talk. I have no problem with that. Listen, yes. Here's the thing. Florida schools are always going to be sought after. It's a recruiting hotbed. There's a lot of money in the state. We know that. That's why UCF, it's the youngest university that's gotten to a Power 5 conference so quick. There's reasons for that. USF was there. They fumbled the bag. You have to admit it, right? They thought they were at the top of the food chain, and now they went back down. They made a good hire. I really like Alex Golesh. I think he is the right man for the job. The question is, there are a lot of other factors that play into it. Winning's the most important, but it's going to come down to you have a lot of competition in the state, right? Your competition mainly, I know Miami's right there. FAU is now in the American, so that's your new rival. And if we're being completely honest with ourselves right now, the football program is not where USF is. But I think FAU as an athletics program, this might be a hot take, I think it is in a much better position than USF is. I mean, just after this college basketball season alone, more people know who FAU is than USF in the grand scheme. So you have to fight with that, right? Now you have 4 Power 5 conferences in the state, one of which is only 2 hours away. So you're fighting in that 2-hour time span. There's a lot of recruits that you're fighting for. And again, UCF's biggest problem over the last 10 years was everybody wanted to play for a power conference. So the top recruits, like, hey, I love UCF, but I can't go there. And that's why same thing with USF, right? You have a lot of hometown Tampa kids that said, I can't go to Tampa. I can't stay home because you're not in a power conference.
Yeah.
And now the extenuating circumstances is USF is trying to get to where these schools are. They're doing the right things. The problem is, like you said, it might be too little too late because if the Pac-12's gone or they just fill it with a bunch of, lesser schools, that becomes a Power 4. We talked about the ACC where we both think, Nick, that that's probably a goner when the top 4 schools there dip when that media rights deal ends or when they just say, we're done.
Yeah, it's a long time until those media rights end. So these schools are going to have to pay a lot of money to get out of these contracts with the schools. Now, with a Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and I'll throw North Carolina in there, would they be willing to do that? I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's tough right now. I think USF, they've probably eyed getting into the ACC for years. And now it's like, if you get there, it's like, okay, what does that mean?
And that's the thing, right? And Richie brings up, he says there's a lot of pressure on Golesh, and it's set up 10 to 12 years with the hires that they've made, right? They had Taggart, they had, Scott. And
Taggart was rolling, I thought.
Taggart was.
Charlie Strong's, everything Charlie Strong did, that was a product of what Taggart first brought there.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. But now it's come to the point where, I think USF's main goal right now is get ready for when the ACC crumbles. Mm-hmm. But again, you are now, it's not a, where's UCF going to the Big 12? It was more of a, okay, we know this is going to kind of stick. It could not, but we hope that it'll stay. When the ACC comes along and they start grabbing teams from the teams they lost, I think that is a more of, they're going to be a non-Power 5. Like, people will not consider them to be a power conference. Now, who knows? That is, I think, years away potentially. So who knows? But I think USF specifically is fighting and getting the program ready for that move. So you better hope that the stadium's ready to go when that comes. You better hope the football program is thriving. Because at the end of the day, Nick, in the next 2 to 3 years, you need to be one of the top 3 teams in the American, which is doable. It's doable. But the problem is, and this is in my head, if I'm USF, I'm fighting with FAU. I'm not caring about all the other schools. Yep. You need to be better in every single way than FAU, because that is the exact reason why UCF got the bid. They were already better, but they've been better for years over USF. So when time came, they said, it's an obvious UCF, better brand nationally.
Well, I would tell you that the whole meaning of investing in athletics, and I was there and I reported on a lot of this stuff. UCF takes the athletics very serious. It's very meticulous the way they make hires. They've made a lot of big time hires. USF has gone that route of making big time hires, i.e. Charlie Strong. All right. They've tried by bringing in a big name like that, and it was a disaster. Yeah. It was a complete disaster. And Jeff Scott, you love the man, but 4-26 record,
not it.
It's just not. It's set the program back. It has completely set the program back, and it leaves a lot on Alex Golesh's plate. Now, when Alex Golesh was hired, it was out of nowhere, I guess I'd say. There was a lot of, the scuttlebutt of the Dion stuff, which is what it was. But, Alex Golesh gets hired, and that's a guy, like I've said, that I was able to cover the year that he was there at UCF, and, was in some press conferences with him, always impressed. And I always had heard things that they thought really highly of him. Josh Heupel did.
Yeah.
As a future head coach, actually. I remember hearing that, and this was in 2020. So it's no surprise to me that he's gotten that job. Remember, Tennessee's offense, if one thing I know with Alex Golesh, they're going to score points. Tennessee's offense put 47 up on the country last year on average. 47. How many people knew who Hendon Hooker was before 2021? Stop lying, you didn't. Okay? He was a backup, kind of maybe sometimes starter at Virginia Tech that was just okay? And he turned himself into what's probably going to be a first-round pick under Alex Golesh. So that's why I think there's a lot, and I know USF fans probably don't want to hear the word hope because they've been fed every bit, and I understand it. They just want to see games won. I understand it. I want to see this program win games. At the end of the day, I'm from Tampa Bay. Before I even knew what UCF was, okay, I didn't even know what UCF was until literally like the Fiesta Bowl in 2013. Honest to God, had no idea what it was. Before that, I was that kid going to USF games in Raymond James Stadium when it was popping. Actually, when Jim Leavitt was there, when Matt Grothy and BJ Daniels were throwing the football, I had the USF jersey. I went to the games. Okay. So I want to see the program do well. I don't have any animosity as a UCF grad. I don't. I've never been a part of that rivalry. I may joke about it sometimes, but at the end of the day, I want USF to really succeed. I want my teams and my programs in this area to succeed. And I'm an Alex Golesh believer. And if there's one thing that USF was able to do last year, it was actually score. They were able to score. Now, they lost a lot of talent with Brian Battie and Jimmy Horn Jr. and Xavier Weaver. That's a lot of talent that they're going to have to replace. But as I've said multiple times, I'm a Byron Brown believer as well, and think that he deserves to get that starting shot over Gary Bohannon this year. So because of the conference, I can't help but be optimistic about USF. I can't help it. I know it's a one-win football team, but I think Golesh also did well to get them inside the top 80 in recruiting. And I know that doesn't sound great, but they were 129 when he took over, and he didn't have much time to get going. So I even think he did well there. I think he did well in the portal. I'm hopeful for USF right now.
No, it's good. And I think the big question mark is, like you said, it's not necessarily the people that are hired, because I do think you've already seen it in recruiting. Now, I think USF fans' expectations have been lowered, which is good, because you're not going to be nabbing a bunch of 4-star, freshmen out of the blue, right? You're going to get some transfers because people respect Alex Golesh. He's coached at Tennessee. You're going to get a lot of those SEC guys that are maybe transferring. And listen, more power to you. UCF does the same thing. That's how you get talent now, is the transfer portal. It's going to come down to, and you alluded to it, Nick, how much is athletics pushed at USF? Are they taking it serious? Are they going to put the money into it to really know, like, we are going to put this full throttle? Because let's be real, and I don't know the whole situation. If somebody can enlighten me in the chat, but they were just looking for a basketball hire. Yeah. Who was the number one guy for the job that basically had the job, or it was rumored he had the job?
Well, Mike Bray.
Okay. And now he's not the coach. He didn't get hired.
Yes.
So why is that?
Well, I'll give you this. Before, I didn't want to hammer USF a lot on that. I think at first you see, okay, Mike Bray's the guy. How did they not close on this? I think that's the perception. But Mike Bray's 63 years old. Mike Bray's program at Notre Dame, although he's recruited well, they've kind of been on a downward trend in regards to winning games. Things have gotten tougher for them in the ACC. He's a lot older now. I don't know if they got the feeling, Michael Kelly, that Mike Bray might have been coming here just to use it as a retirement home. I think you have to have that fear when you see a big name coach like that suddenly, no offense, show interest into a basketball program that hasn't had a winning season since 2012. It's tough, right? So I don't know what happened with that whole situation. Mike Bray said he never even got offered the job. So what does that tell you? I can't see in my mind that Mike Bray is in a meeting with Michael Kelly, and Michael Kelly doesn't offer him the job if there wasn't something that said, I don't think this is the right time. So that's what I'll say about the Mike Bray thing.
And listen, and you can, again, if that's what they came from it, then you have to understand that. But it also begs questions of, listen, it's going to come down to who they make the hires, right?
Yeah,
Who was the
and
hire?
I like the hire they made, by the way. Amir Abdur-Rahim from Kennesaw State, who's a program builder, took over a 1-win basketball team and then just got them to 27 wins in an NCAA tournament appearance. I
And
like that hire. They need a program builder.
and that could be it. And listen, you're going to be in the ACC or AAC, excuse me. You're going to win some games. There's not that much talent now leaving in basketball. So I think, again, USF, they are primed and ready. You have FAU.
FAU now FAU has a chance. It's like we're talking about USF because I really want them, but FAU actually, I'm interested to see what goes on here because they got a legit head coach in football in Tom Herman, who was at Texas. Now he was I thought he honestly was okay at Texas, but if you're just okay at Texas, it's not good enough. We understand that. But I think at a level like that, when he got things rolling at Houston, he set the foundation for Houston to get to the national forefront. And then obviously they move on now with UCF to the Big 12 and BYU. It's a beautiful campus. It's kind of, it's almost quiet down there a little bit, actually very low key. And obviously Dusty May, for as long as he's going to stay there, he got the extension. Who knows? In NIL world, he might want to stay there at FAU. Now they got to invest in their basketball facilities, but I will say actually that's kind of the biggest thing I see in this new AAC. I think those two schools, you have to think one of them needs to rise up to be that team in that conference. Is going to be USF or FAU, and it could create a nice little rivalry actually.
It has to. For the American sake, it has to. And I think, again, if you're a USF fan, you need to just hope and pray that USF becomes the more illustrious program than FAU. Because whoever's going to be there, and it has to be consistent. It can't just be back and forth and you hit it at the right time. You got to be consistent because FAU already has a leg up. Yep. And I know that might hurt USF fans. I understand that.
True. Based on all the pub that they got, I don't know how many. I'll bet you there was about 75% of the country that had no idea what FAU was, had no idea where it was or anything like that. I bet that's the case, and now they know where it is, and now they know how real they are.
And again, they're close to Miami, right? So I know there's a lot of good basketball players specifically out of Miami, right? Tom Herman, you can get a lot of those recruits that maybe aren't getting offered by Miami, but are still Power 5 players.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. And that's why I say USF has to put full throttle into athletics and see where it's going to take them in the next couple years. Because if you stay where you are at now, you might as well just stay there forever because FAU will take over very quickly, not just in basketball, but football can really punch you in the mouth really close to.
Yep, that's going to be a big rivalry to keep an eye on as we don't have the USF-UCF one anymore. Lame. But again, I hate to say it, USF fans, but I have hope. But we got to win games. You got to win games, so we'll see if that happens. But let's take our final break here. We still got a little bit of show left. Again, reminder, the Rays are playing at 1 o'clock today. Early game today. First of these weekday afternoon 1 o'clock games. Love afternoon baseball, so I can't wait to jet out of here and make sure that I'm ready to watch that. Today as the Rays go for a sweep, looking to remain undefeated. So we'll kind of look ahead to that, go over the lineup, and of course, it's bump day. Shane McClanahan's on the mound. You know what's going on. So we'll return here on the JP Peterson for our last and final segment here on a Wednesday.
Guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on a Wednesday. Back for our final segment as we wrap things up here. It's been a great show. JP was able to join us for an hour today. Hopefully he'll be back on maybe Friday. We'll see. Tomorrow, reminder, I'll be here, and Jason Powers is going to co-host with me as well during that show. So we'll have some guests lined up and some other things. And of course, we're going to break down the Rays when we get on the other side of it. Like I mentioned before we came back, or before we went to break, the Rays, 1 o'clock today, looking for to get their second consecutive sweep to start the season. It's been a fantastic start. I'll set the lineup here real quick. Yandy leading off and playing first base. Wander Franco at second, playing short. Isaac Paredes over there at the hot corner at third, batting third. Arozarena at cleanup and left. Harold Ramirez back in there at DH at fifth. Margot batting sixth and right. Walls batting seventh. Taylor Walls, that is, batting seventh, playing second. Jose Siri moves up a little bit to eighth in center field. And Francisco Mejia doing the catching, batting ninth. So an off day for Luke Raley and Josh Lowe. Well-deserved, by the way, but with Patrick Corbin on the mound, the lefty, it's an all-righty lineup today for the Rays, but I got full confidence in that. So I'll be excited to watch that today and break it down on tomorrow's show. But before we sign off today, a couple minutes left. Sean, I believe there's something you wanted to bring up here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Tampa next week.
Oh, really?
So I have a little bit of a story. I got off the show yesterday, and I got a text from Ticketmaster, and you're gonna laugh at me because we talked about this. I think when we went to the UCF game.
Oh no!
In December.
I know where this is going.
So my girlfriend, I don't have a wife, but I have a loving girlfriend. And we've been seeing a lot of Taylor Swift stuff on TikTok.
Oh, here we go.
And she's coming to Tampa next week. And I got a text right after the show from Ticketmaster. And I guess imagine me, Nick. I was a verified fan. They gave me verified fan access to secret tickets, like a small group of tickets that got released. And I went on Twitter after because I was very intrigued. And there was many girls that were not happy that they were not verified fans. And me, I was a verified fan, which, I deserve it. Let me tell you, the ticket prices, Nick, $99 for upper bowl.
No.
Swear, $99 for upper bowl seats. And I got the, what club? I got the club level at Raymond James, its own little section for $250 a ticket. Those seats are going for over $1,000 on SeatGeek.
Oh, they're going over like $600 to sit in the upper bowl.
I know. So I was like, I'm driving myself to Tampa. I'm not looking forward to the traffic, not looking forward to the parking. But I'm going opening night next Thursday to see Taylor Swift.
Wow.
I know. So I'll be in the second best city in Florida next week.
Whoa.
Making myself go down to Raymond James. But I was shocked. Let me tell you, I got off the show, I swear. And I got off the show and I texted my girlfriend and I'm like, do we want to do this? Because I've been seeing girls literally cry on TikTok because
my wife is one of those. By the way, Taylor Swift fanatic, been wearing me out. And I can't tell her this story. I cannot tell her this story because she will cry in front of me. It's already happened. We woke up. Yeah, we woke up, or I woke up rather like probably like a Saturday ago or 2 Saturdays ago. I don't know. I woke up to her crying because she really wants to go to one of these concerts. And there's 3 of them, and I can't justify spending over $600 for a third level ticket, and that's just the ticket itself. Then you got to add on the fees for 2 tickets. I think she went to the cart. It was like over $1,300 for 2 tickets in the upper bowl for Taylor Swift. Now I'm not even a Taylor Swift I'm just one of those people that don't get it. That's just me. I can't imagine. I wouldn't pay that much money for anybody for a concert.
I agreed. I told my girlfriend that months ago. I said, I think the most I would spend is maybe, if I really like them, maybe $200. I'm like, I can't see myself spending too much. The fees weren't that bad though, because the actual ticket price was $199. And I spent about $250. So you're paying an extra $50.
Well, I hope you've gone public with it now, so you might need to go. It's a good thing you are in Orlando in an undisclosed location. Although you did tell us where you work and you did tell us you're at an office, so it's a little dangerous because them tickets, you'll get killed if you put that out there. You got them tickets.
See, I should have bought you and Casey tickets, but it literally.
By the way, yeah. I was waiting for that story to take a little bit of a turn there. I'm like, you're going to tell me that we're going, you're going to be the big day, and then she'll cry tears of joy or something.
See, I thought about it too. I'm like, I'm going to text Nick to see if he will spend this $250 a ticket. Because it came up to like $500. But when I tell you these tickets were going like,
yeah, it's very fast. You got to get in and get out.
Every time I clicked on a seat, it said, "Oh, another fan got this." It was a nightmare, but it was calmer than I think it should have been. But it all worked out.
Yeah. And we've gone over here for a second, but whatever. It's our show. It's my show today.
Oh.
Anyway, but I have to bring this comment up from Richie because he said, "Okay, Sean, so your girlfriend is the fan." Yeah, right.
Oh no, Richie, I'm the fan.
Yeah. Richie, let me tell you this. Quick story time. When we were hitting the field, I can't tell you how many times I had the IVP in my ear. And him and this other guy named Johnny Jackson thought that they could just play Taylor Swift and put it in everybody's IFB, and it's blasting in my ear. I'm trying to get in the zone for like a show and do my get my stuff prepared. And Sean thinks it's cool to blast Taylor Swift in my ear as I'm trying to do this. And I have to keep this earpiece in at all times because there might be the occasional, we need you to do this, that, and the other. So yeah, Richie, Sean is the super fan here.
And it's funny, he put JK thinking like, oh yeah, there's no way. No,
this is the super fan.
This is the super fan.
The super fan.
She's very excited. Don't get me wrong, but I am the fan in this scenario.
Yeah, if you honestly, because I'm such a great person, if you would have gotten 4 tickets, I wouldn't have even gone. I would have been a nice man, and I would have given the extra ticket to one of Casey's friends who wanted to go with her so that I can make everybody happy.
See, I probably would have had a much better time if it was Casey and her friend than you coming along. So
yeah, because I would be Mr. Sit down in my seat,
drink a beer,
complain that everybody is standing up in front of me and I can't even see and I spent all this money for it. Yeah, I would not be fun at a concert like that. I would not be fun. But I'll see everybody at George Strait in the summer. There you go. I'll spend $200+ to go see George Strait when he comes to Raymond James, because that is an ultimate bucket list for me personally. So that's my Taylor Swift. That's my Taylor Swift. But anyway,
more power to you.
There's your music conversation for today. We've covered. It's only midweek, and we've covered wrestling. We've covered sports in like every league. We've talked women's basketball.
You should have me on more often.
Now we've done Taylor Swift. Oh, you're the new fill-in host. You're officially the new fill-in host, and I thank you so much for joining us. We'll see if we can get you back for tomorrow, but definitely on Friday if you're willing and able. So 100%. With that, we will sign off for today. It's been a great week, like I said so far. Rays at 1 o'clock. The Lightning tonight at 7 o'clock on the TNT against the New York Rangers. A great matchup, and we'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.